Okay, this video I would like to share of how to get the Webull APIs, and there are a few questions in the GitHub issues, and they're about how to get, or there are new about questions about new endpoints that were not already available in the Webull package, and there are questions also about how to get new endpoints. So hopefully you can utilize this video to get or to find your own or endpoints that are not in the current package and the endpoints that you want to use. And as you can see in the, okay, let's get to the screen. Now, as you can see, you should right click on the inspect, and then you will open up something like a developer's tool in the web page in your Chrome. And this is the Chrome browser that I'm using. And so once you get to the page or to the information that you want to find, let's resize the inspector tool a little bit. So this one, I'm hopefully to find the top gainers endpoint and the 5-minute endpoint for the stocks under the top gainers. And let's look into the, so you want to look for the network. As you can see on the right, there's a network. And so let's find the stock here. It's a GRAY. And if there's sometimes there's too many information loading, so you should clear the information here, and then reload, and then get those endpoints that you want. So that's what I'm doing here. And sometimes there are flooding with all of the new information, also because Webull has a lot of it uses JavaScript to get a lot of information dynamically. So if you reload the page, sometimes it will just keep flooding you with new messages. So let's scroll a little bit, and you can always resize the columns here on the inspector tool if you want. And let's look for the endpoint that hopefully the name will matches something like a top gainers. And here, since we cannot find, let's try to reload again. And then once you click on the red icon, it will just stop getting new endpoints or stop logging the communications. And so let's expand into the information here. So I'm looking at the query, but seems like as you can see, there's no stock ticker or stock symbol, so this doesn't seem like the information that I'm looking for. And here I'm looking a little bit more, and none of these look right at the moment. So yes, it can be a little bit more difficult to find sometimes. Oh, okay, so this is the one. And the top gainers, so this looks like what we're looking for. The top gainers should be the endpoint here, and on the top there's a request URL. So this is the endpoint itself. So if you request to this URL, you'll be, and this is the get. Sometimes there's a post option. So if it's a get, if you enter the page itself, it will directly give you the information. If it's post, it's a little bit complicated because post requires you posting the data into this into this web page. But if it's get, if you just copy paste the web page, it will directly give you all those information without you posting any data. So this is how the get page works, and this works for not only Webull but any web page. So let's write it into the Webull endpoint packages here. So I know there's already a get active or top gainers and losers endpoint in the Webull package, but seems like because it's not as accurate, so I was hoping to update it this time. And so there's already a previous endpoint, but as you can see, like because Webull has different kind of this is called FQDN, or you can just ignore it. This is called the host name, and because the host name this time because Webull also regularly updates the host name as well, although the login information is the same, but host name changes. So you will have to add new host names if those host names don't already exist in the endpoints .py file. And I try to name these host names as close to they can be to the actual host name. So let's name this as base fintech GWURL, I guess. And okay, And since we can reuse these host names, and so we will clear the pages after the API. And if you just put that variable in here, then you will be able to let's give this a new function first, and then let's make sure this works before we delete the old one. So we copy pasted the end bit of the endpoint, and you can use this host name if you put that variable inside here, and this should be okay. As you can see, since it's a get method, so the variables or the parameters are after the question mark, so you can set what information you're looking for by changing the parameters into these parameters after the question mark. And I'm just trying to keep the name of the variable consistent here. So this is called region code. And if you want to directly input those information here, so you can use the Webull page to input those variable here. So these are all of the information in the query string parameters. You can always look for them here, and they should always be here. And if you cannot find it, so actually if it's a get method, it should be the same as the query string. It should align with the query string there. And let's put the rank type with replace it with the variable here, so we can use different kind of rank type as well. So here, this is the actual Webull file, and that was the endpoint file. So let's also, for testing, let's also copy paste the function, and we should let's name this function new because I don't want it to conflict with the old one. And let's keep the naming consistent. So there's the direction here and the count number here, and let's make it 50 because that Webull endpoint has the default value is 50. And let's change this to new as well, so it doesn't conflict with the old endpoint. So we can directly input the region code from the Webull file. So actually depends on where your account is open. Sometimes there are questions from people in Hong Kong or China. Their accounts are open different, and some people from Canada, I think their Webull account have a different region code. So depending on where your account is open, the region code may be different. And so I'm trying to keep the naming consistent here as well. So the count should be num. And in this file is count. And yes, so this looks yes, this is the get endpoint, so there's no parameters. There shouldn't be any parameters posting into the URL, and that params should only work for post endpoints. And let's directly return the result. And most of the time seems that Webull have output the information or data in as JSON, so return, so you should parse it as JSON. So let's try testing this endpoint and make sure it works fine. So we're missing the rank type here. So let's add the rank type into here, and the rank type should be aftermarket, I guess. And it's good to label the variables or example variables in here, like what I'm doing right now, so to make sure that others know what kind of variables they can throw into this endpoint or this function. So let's give it a test. Okay, see, so we are getting some information here. Looks good. So I'm checking that the data that we got from the endpoint aligns with what we have here. So using our old friend parse JSON to make sure that the CLI symbol also is consistent with the endpoint that we got from Webull. Let's take a look and put them side by side. So it looks a little bit different, huh? There's no CLI there's no CLI symbol in this one. So yes, let's investigate a little bit here. Oh, sorry, there is a previous function running, so I guess maybe that's why. Let's comment out and then try again. Seems like something's let's go up, and is there something interfering? Yes. Okay, let's comment out these all out and make sure that these don't interfere, and try running again, and something's wrong. Paper Webull has no. So since we rewrote the endpoints and the Webull function, probably let's install the package again. And if you have questions for the package install, you can follow other videos as well. I have explained about how to log into Webull using the package. Okay, let's rerun, and this time maybe it looks quite different. Probably this should be what we are looking for, and let's try again and see if the data aligns with what we have there. EXPR. Yes, this stock has been hot recently. Okay, looks good. Yes. So we have what we got from the data as well from here. So this looks good, and we have successfully written this endpoint into the Webull package. And I was hoping to get other variables because we had the aftermarket. So hopefully you could get something like the pre-market or the 5 minutes here, and see what we can do in here. Yeah, it's not as consistent here, so sometimes you can't find what you're looking for. And Webull, since the page is so busy, so it's actively loading and everything into here. And if you turn the red mark on, it will just flood you with all of the information here. So it can be a little bit tricky sometimes. This is the get account, so this shouldn't be what we're looking for. From what I have knowledge, yes, this one. So there was the top gainers, and probably Webull named this endpoint called the drop gainers. So, and yeah, this looks what we're looking for. The rank type is 5 minutes, although the region ID is the same, but the endpoint name is a little bit different. So let's copy this endpoint and make sure that it's consistent with what we got there, so we can use this endpoint. We can use this endpoint function, reuse it. Okay, looks quite the same, so cool. So we can put the direction in here too. And if it's direction, if it's a gainer, then it should be the URL should have the top gainers. And if the direction is loser, then probably we should put the drop gainers into the URL here. So let's add that into the rank type here, 5 minutes. So cool. So there's also most active and stuff like that. And let's see if we can try to get it here as well, since it was in the previous old function as well. So hopefully we can get as much, if not more, than the previous thing. That, oh yes, it's right here, top active, that's the one. And yes, seems like the rank type is also quite similar, so we can reuse this in our function. And as usual, let's copy and paste this into the endpoint URL. So the URL should equal to top active if we have an active there. Looks good. And the rank type is quite different, for active than for other for gainer and losers. So we should add that to the comment here to make sure others can use this more effectively. Okay. And I was hoping to get the range and turnover and volume here. So okay, so you can use a range if you're using the active function as well. And the volume, if we could get that too. It's nice if we can find it. As usual, it's quite tricky here, so I don't think this is what we're looking for. Yeah, sometimes you have to click a few times, but if the data doesn't get reloaded, it seems like it won't appear on here, and portal isn't what we are looking for. So let's try looking in the top losers first and finish off the 5 minutes, 1 day, 5 days, different variables into here just to make sure, so we can add those to the comments. Yes, sometimes this is a tedious task, so actually it used to be a lot harder for the login. The login was very difficult, especially if you go look for the package. There's a hash, how Webull use the JavaScript to hash the function before to hash the password before they send the password online over to the server, and that was so difficult to look for because that was deep inside the JavaScript file. So I was digging quite deep into the JavaScript file before I found it. And okay, so we found the top gainers 5 days, 1 day, and hopefully there's also 1 month, is it? Okay, there's 1M equals 1 month, and there are others 3 months and 52 weeks, so effectively 1 year. Okay, 3M and 52 weeks. Okay, yes, 52W, finally. So we got all those in here, that'll be nice. And I remember that we haven't got the pre-market yet. I was hoping to get that one too, but it seems quite difficult, huh? Just cannot get the pre-market to load up. Okay. Aftermarket. No pre-market. No pre-market. Nothing like that. No pre-market. 5 minutes. 5 Oh no. Yeah. Let's try clearing and reloading again, and seems like there's nothing as usual. And gosh, it's difficult, huh? So stubborn. I'm guessing that probably because the page can't be loaded, so probably after loaded it doesn't try to get the top gainers again in the pre-markets, and it will only load up once you try to click into the others. This is hard to find. And we haven't got the volume in there too. Oh, there's a bunch of information here. Sometimes you have to learn to ignore things like images as well, because images also show up here. There's the top gainers. You know what? Let's just try it. See if we can. I am guessing the name pre-market should mean pre-market there, so hopefully Webull also keeps this consistent. Let's give pre-market a try and see if we can find what is loaded onto the page as well. Okay, pre-market equals the rank type, and let's try this. Okay, there's some information here. Oh, it was a little bit. Yes, we edited, so we have to install the package again. Okay, and go back up and try running this new endpoint. Oh no, something we missed. Num. Sorry for switching a lot here. Yes, we ordered the things wrong, so the direction we forgot to put in there. And yes, install the package again. Remember to install again. And if you're just importing from a child directory, probably it'll be easier, I guess. And let's try running. Webull demo 2. Parameters mismatch. So somehow we have either pre-market doesn't work or other things have interfered. So no, it's not the problem for pre-market. Something that we have done here that renders it not working, And let's take a look. Direction, region, code, rank type, and number. And so the direction is gainer, loser. Region is region code, region ID, rank type, rank type. Let's print out the URL and see what we've done wrong. Maybe it'll be a little bit more obvious. And sorry for wasting your time here. Let's try to install the package again and going out and try to install this. And yes, so rank type is aftermarket, region ID is gainer. So as as you can see, we have mismatched the variables here indeed, and let's try fixing that. So probably the order I got them wrong from the function into the endpoint page. So direction, region, code, region, rank type, and count. So I've mismatched the direction and the region code into different orders. So the direction should be first. And sorry to install this package again, and going back up and try running the page again. Okay, we're getting something here, getting quite a lot. And okay, let's change it to pre-market. Hopefully it will work fine. Okay, let's try okay. So we've got the pre-market as well here, and the last one is the volume doesn't have the variable for the rank type, but you know what, let's just try putting it in and see if we can get it working, I guess. So the direction should be active and the rank type is volume. Let's just try checking it here, see if we can get something. Hopefully something will come out if we guessed correctly. So we got it wrong, and something's going. But yes, usually getting the or trying to get the API is a tedious task of trying to go to the inspect element or inspect a network or the communication between your computer as well as the server, and just basically getting the method. For example, it's usually get or post, or sometimes there's a patch or like maybe delete and stuff like that as well. But mostly these days web pages are normally using like a get and post, and basically and then the other one is the query or the parameters. If it's the get method, usually information should be parsed via the query parameter, and usually if it's post, you will need to take a look at the page down there and see if you find you can use those post variables as an example. And so let's take a look here. Okay, so we finally got the volume as well, and let's see if the volume matches. Okay, cool. AMC is also a hot stock recently, and TRM, yes, it's a second stock, so it looks good. And although there's also the 52-week endpoint, the marginable and hot rank, I will not bother you with that. Basically, so this is how I usually get the endpoint from Webull, and you can actually, this is not limited to Webull. You can also use this method to try to capture APIs or web pages that don't usually have APIs, but use this method to get them as API. And I think, for example, there is also online styles, but sometimes getting the API might be difficult because user agents. Some services you will tend to look at your user agents, and the most difficult part is the authentication part. So you usually have to get through the authentication before you can load some limited data or user only data, stuff like that. But since I have already finished the credentials and input into the Webull package, so getting new endpoints should be fairly easy if you could use the access token and the refresh token to get those endpoints. So basically, yes. And feel free to or please do subscribe to my channel. Actually, I'm trying to post contents that are friendly for like Algotrading or friendly for how to program or your own bots, and hopefully you like some content that updated here. And I'll keep on posting more contents related to this area. Thank you.